Yo, what up? This is Lee Smith. We're back. Mission Statement, episode 10. We're here at Mona Lisa Studios. We got the man, Brian Lotti. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. What's going on, man? Like, how you live in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah. East Coast. Yeah.
What part of Brooklyn you live in, though?
So I live at like Boerum Hill by the Barclays Center, and cool street, and yeah, it's just good. My wife and I moved here. She's from the East Coast, and yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense because the last time I saw you was in Boerum Hill on the fucking...
Oh, that street festival.
It was Bastille Day.
That's
and
right.
France had won the World Cup on Bastille Day.
Oh, the day before.
Yeah, well, they won that day.
Was it that day?
Yeah, they won that day.
That's right.
So we went and watched the World Cup, and we drank I was with my girlfriend and a bunch of friends, and we had mad bottles of champagne and pasties, and then
that was awesome.
we saw you towards the end of the day.
that was a full Euro day, wasn't it? That was like running into you in Barcelona. That was sick.
Yeah. That was
Laura still talks about that. She's like, I love that you could go to a festival in Brooklyn and just drink on the street sometimes. Yeah.
So she's from New York, or you said she's from North?
Yeah, Queens and New Jersey.
Yeah. How long you been living out here for?
Just a year and some change, year and a half.
Oh, and then you were in LA before that?
Yeah, in LA for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do
you still like LA, or how do you feel? Has it changed?
I mean, you get to a point in life and it's all kind of the same in a way. I don't know. It's just kind of different places. It's good to be here now for certain things, but still have good friends in California.
Yeah.
We're kind of really in the moment right now, just kind of getting shit done. So it's good to be here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back. So you grew up in Salt Lake City or Las Vegas? Or
both. Yeah. Elementary school in Salt Lake City, and then high school in Vegas, and I started. That's kind of where I got started skating for sure.
You started skating in Vegas though?
In Salt Lake City.
How did you get into it?
Right, man. What we were just talking about, coming upon Thrasher magazines, and then I think someone had a fucking vert ramp or mini ramp in a barn. I think I was there was one summer where we were inner tubing down some creek. The creek got, I remember walking past a ramp, and then someone had a Future Primitive video, that first Powell video. All these things happened, and then the Thrasher magazines, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
So it was
man?
Intriguing. You were intrigued. You're I need to figure out what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
What's going on with this skateboarding thing?
I mean, I liked things with wheels. I was into BMX biking. I couldn't really do that, but. And skating was I could do this, This is my scale,
Well, how old were you?
I think I was 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who did you start skating with?
Fuck, man. I didn't have any. I skated by myself, I think, for the first year or two, and then year and a half, and then eventually I think I made some friends. Because I lived in a small town outside of Salt Lake City. Anyways, it was no one skated in Utah. But then the kids, I think somehow I met some people in Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City, and and then kind of got into street skating. Yeah,
it's funny. I skated by myself for definitely a good 2.5 years.
Solid.
I didn't know anybody. I lived in the Oakland Hills, and then moved around. We moved to Detroit, and I never met a skater for.
And it's meant to be, man. if you're in it for the love of it, you don't need anybody else.
This is fun. I didn't, and at the time I didn't even really know much that it was a culture, or there was
Oh,
a whole
shit.
world to it. I was like, this
Did
is.
someone give you a board? What was the?
I got like a Veriflex for Christmas.
Oh, sick,
Yeah.
man! I got a sugar grip for Christmas one year.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So you get this toy and you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yep. Oh shit, man. Yeah.
Sick. So how old were you when you moved to Vegas?
Just before starting high school. So like basically like high school. Started there.
Were you psyched to move, or were you like?
No, man, I had a fucking girlfriend in Salt Lake City. I was like, finally things were starting. Yeah, I was like, there's a lot of skaters in Salt Lake. There's a really good skate scene there. And
Really?
I remember Vegas was just like dirty and bleak and like just there were a lot of bullies there. Like
Because Vegas is kind of like outside of the Strip. It's a little rough.
yeah,
It's kind of a rough town.
yeah, big time. That was a shock to me because I think I was like a pretty sheltered kid. So some of the stuff I started seeing in Vegas, I was like, what the fuck? And but somehow I met there's actually like a crazy good skate scene there. And somehow, skaters find skaters. It's fucked up how it works. And then everything was okay. I think that made it. I mean, there's so much good shit to skate there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so close to California. It's
Who was Kenny Anderson around? Like, was he?
He
like,
was actually. He was like this tall. He just come
like
out.
a little grom.
He would skate a mini Chris Miller, and he was like this tall. He was the kid that was like way back.
So you guys knew each other, sort of. I mean,
he was part of he was like the West Side gang. So like his brother was a really good skater, and like there's this whole like mini ramp scene. He was the kid that had GNS trucks that could do really good fake yollies to Smith and shit like that, He looked really, really good, but he was tiny.
Mr. Perfect. That's what they call him. Dude, so when I think about Vegas, it's like I think about only you two guys. Who else was like a Vegas low?
Oh, man.
Because I know Phoenix kind of has a lot of big scene, but I never
There was a lot of back and forth between Phoenix and Vegas too. Like Colby Carter was in Phoenix, but then there was like Otis Christian was in Vegas. Man, I mean, Larry Jones, Mike Chu. God, there was a bunch of good skaters
Randy
in
Colvin,
Vegas.
he was from Phoenix too, right?
Randy Colvin was from Phoenix. He would skate in Vegas a lot. Fuck, Randy Colvin was the best.
That dude
man.
was like the best skater ever.
People called him like the Gons, like the mini Gons.
He was
like
gnarly.
he was like this big, and he was like so good, so good. Yeah, because some people are like naturals. He's.
Well, I wonder whatever. Were you friends? So would you go to Phoenix a lot, or like?
Go to Phoenix a little bit, and then later on, I was skating a bunch with Matt Schnur and Guy
Schnerball.
and Tim Gavin. We would go back to Vegas, and like Colby Carter and Randy Colvin would still be there. They didn't really do the California thing, and those guys just ripped. Those guys were just so fucking good at everything and anything, and just doing it because they loved it. Yeah, it's funny.
So you're skating at this time, and like, is getting sponsored something that you're into? Like, is that something that you want, or like?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I was like kind of like,
Well,
like a poser
unfortunately?
early on. I mean, I look back, I was like a mongie, I just wanted to, I wanted to get sponsored.
Yeah, but I mean, we all kind of, what did it mean at that time? It's like somebody's going to give you free boards, and maybe you can travel a little bit doing.
It's a license, man. You can keep doing
you
it.
fucking love, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And traveling was like, if you've never really gotten to travel on your own, when you start doing that, that's like, going to like Northern California to skate with people or for contests is like, fuck, this is so sick, know?
Places that you probably would never go.
Oh man, that's the thing about skateboarding, right?
But I always think it's weird too, because I remember back in the days, it's like, I don't know if my mom knew that like I'm just getting in a van and just going off into another state.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like leaving the house. I'm like, bye, mom, and she's like, you know.
Yeah. If mom would have seen like who was
phone.
behind the wheel and how they were driving the car, like. Wait, you take over. I think I'm falling asleep. Yeah, it's like
no cell phones. Like I'll call you when I get there.
Right.
So but somehow you ended up on H Street then. Like not somehow, but you were obviously ripping. That's why you got on H Street. But
I mean, it was a slow process. It was kind of I got flowed for a while, and I mean, there were so many good skaters. To be honest, I think I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time to kind of get hooked up with that flow. Because when I look back, man, there were so many dudes. They were just ripped. But like I got to go to skate camp, like one summer, and I met like Ron Allen and Tom Knox, and then somehow there were always like big street contests in Las Vegas. The USPA was in Las Vegas. Anyways, all these people from Southern California, like LA, San Diego, and Phoenix would go to Vegas for these contests. I remember Ron Allen came to this one contest, and like, the 8th Street guys, Mike Ternasky and Magnuson were there, and Ron's like, "Come, let's go with us to Denny's to get a shake. I'm gonna sign my pro contract."
You guys knew each other from.
I knew Ron from skate camp. Yeah, and we were at this fucking vert contest and skating in the parking lot. It was so weird. Just skating some little curb, and then he's like, "Hey, you should come with us. We're gonna get dinner. I'm gonna sign this contract and turn pro." I was like, "What the hell?" And then so it was just this fluke thing, and they were like, "Oh, well, Ron's turning pro. We'll send you a box of boards." And and then it just kind of like, it kind of opened
How much
up.
time did you guys spend together at skate camp?
I mean, not that much. It was just, I think it was more like he remembered me from camp. We like, I think we skated a couple times around the campus. It was at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. I think we went and just actually street skated a couple times, and then he recognized me at the weird contest in Vegas.
So, okay, so then he's
like, we're both skating this curb, like maybe doing nose wheelies and lip slides on this one-sided, like tall red curb, and like kind of grooving on that. And then it was like, then the 8th Street dudes come up, "Let's go, Ron." Ron's like, "Come on, Brian, let's go." So it was like.
The funny thing is, it sounds like super easy and natural, but 8th Street was the best company at the time.
It became that. But for a while, they were the kooks. You know, it took them a while to get there. You know, and the boards were like really awful.
Well, who was cool when they were the kooks then? Was it like Vision or something?
I mean, Vision, Blind, but Blind became Powell.
Powell, right?
And World was starting too. I think Vallely and Jesse Martinez were on. They were on World, and like, there was
Santa Monica Airlines.
That's right. Yeah, it was SMA. Yeah.
When you said Jesse Martinez, I remember that.
Yeah. And Jeff Hartzell. Those early World boards were the fucking shit, man. Yeah. They're so fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
So you get on H Street, then Ron Allen hooks you up. You start like meeting up with them or going on trips or.
Yeah, they would work on videos. So they would be like, "Come to San Diego and like film for this video," and do that, and then whatever their business picked up. 8th Street started selling more boards, and then soon enough they're like, "All right, we want to start a new company, like, and we're gonna start a new company with Chris Miller." They're like, they're like, "Brian, you're vegetarian and you're into like the earth and shit. What? Maybe you should meet Chris Miller."
You were on trend like 30 years ago. Those are things that are hot right now.
Oh my God. And I was like, "Chris Miller, like, hell yeah, man." I mean, he was like, that was awesome. I mean, those guys, he was like a favorite for sure.
With H Street and Mike Ternasky, it seems like Ternasky was kind of like the first person. I kind of think of him as like a P. Diddy of skateboarding. Like he pushed people to be greater.
He was a producer.
Yeah, than they knew that they could be.
Right.
That was what he did, right? Was there anybody before him that was like really?
I mean, Mark Gonzalez was like famously like, who is this guy? Like he was always like this guy's skate coach is like, what is he doing? He'd be like, go, like be right there at the con. Go Hensley, like a really high voice. And Ben Schroeder and Mark Gonzalez were like ripping their hair out, like these fucking 8th Street motherfuckers, like. What the fuck is this guy doing?
But it worked though. I mean, he produced like gnarly, legendary shit in skateboarding.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't fun. Like I'm sure when Biggie, like not to make these comparisons, but like when Puff Daddy was like trying to mold Biggie until Biggie was probably like, this isn't fun. This is not who I am. But that made him the legend.
Yeah, even fucking Rodney Mullen was cursing out Mike Ternasky like, this motherfucker, he's got headphones on listening to the baseball game while I'm trying to film this trick for 11 hours. Like, goddamn him. I need his full attention. Wait, maybe we can't use that.
Well, yes, we're going to use that. Or is there? So there was nobody that took skateboarding like that seriously before Ternasky then, in a way.
Not as a coach who looked at teams like with like a pride and investment. He was like the dude that he saw things in people that they couldn't see in themselves maybe. It's like, I know if I hook this kid up, he's gonna fucking he's gonna bust, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did some legendary shit.
He did, man. I mean, I fucking totally love the guy. He was like, my dad, like my dad passed away at a certain point, and like, he was a solid dude. He's a really kind of one of those guys that kind of helped me kind of figure some shit out and make my way, you know?
Yeah.
He was awesome. Yeah.
That's cool. So you get on planet Earth then?
Yeah, on planet Earth, and
but then by that time were you living in San Diego, or?
Yeah, I think I just moved like just after I turned pro, graduated from high school, and then moved to San Diego, and could just skate a bunch, and I think I was going to school, but whatever, could skate a bunch. How
seriously were you taking that, like school?
I mean, I was passing my classes. I was trying not to waste money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like doing my homework and shit, but was like kind of whatever. It was like, just getting shit done.
So when you filmed Now and Later, you were living in San Diego and going to school?
Right. Right. Yep.
I know you hate the voiceover in that part. I've heard that before. but I like it when you said something about like helping kids that you're now in a position where you can help kids that were younger or something like that. That always was like struck a chord with me. And was that like something that you were actively doing, or were you just something that you were like interested in?
I mean, I think it was more just giving kids boards, like getting people on the team, and you know, getting people, getting people on flow,
But now you're in a position, because then at that point in time, you're in a position to hook up kids that you think are good skaters and that are coming up and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
As a fan, I always loved the voiceover. See, there's things that resonated with.
That's cool. Yeah.
And you said some cool shit, so.
It's a funny one. Double-edged sword, I guess.
It's also funny how you and fucking Javante are like eternally linked through this video. You know, you guys.
I was just thinking about him today. My girl, my friend. He said a bunch of really funny shit. The girls. Yeah. All about the girls.
Dude, that was my favorite video. I mean, I know everybody says that, but I used to watch it every day, like fucking over and over again.
That's sick. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy because I know you spent a lot of time around Javante and Henry. in those days, and I kind of grew up with those guys in San Francisco. I know that they're very, like, they have very strong characters.
Right.
Who, like, I'm sure I'm gonna get some. I'm sure one of these dudes is gonna be hitting me up soon. But like, who was more nerve-wracking to be around? Was it Henry or Javante?
Oh man, I don't know. Wait, can we cut the cameras?
I love these dudes. We're fucking EMB for life. So.
Oh man. I mean,
they got those. Those are they're very strong.
They're both really headstrong. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't actually thought about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know, because if Javante wants something, he's gonna get his way. He's gonna figure out. He's not gonna. Or if he's just pissed at you, and he wants to fuck with you, like he's gonna make you feel like shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna like go out of his way to fucking. Maybe not nowadays, but back in the day.
Yeah. No, I think he's a sweetie nowadays. Shit. I don't know. And then Henry could just be like super cheerful, and then he could be like he could dig in and like get stubborn about something. Like, no.
He was kind of like moody.
Yeah.
Very highs and lows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough one, man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll say it's a toss-up. Let's be diplomatic about this. I mean, both those guys are fucking incredible. They both have super strong wills.
Oh, for sure.
And they're both
such
like
good skaters. And
so good and so original. There'll never be another Javante. There'll never be another Henry. Those guys are insanely original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's never been any footage of you at Embarcadero, huh? Did you skate Embarcadero?
Right. That's one thing I kind of lament. Sometimes I feel like the only footage is that Planet Earth part. Yeah, man. Embarcadero was super fun.
Yeah.
I didn't film enough there.
Yeah. Maybe you were like kind of already moving on by that time or something. I see you at Embarcadero, I guess. I would have liked to see like Lotti footage.
Oh man.
You came to Embarcadero, right? Like you.
Yeah. I think the last few times I got to skate there were like the funnest actually. Yeah. I think I was into board slide shit and like manual shit there. Like I was really into like switch nose wheelies, I think.
Yeah, maybe like across the like C block or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe for one of the back to the city contests. I think
Did you skate in that contest?
Yeah, I skated in 2 of those, man. Ugh.
Every dude that was in the magazine that I see was like there.
Yeah.
Everybody's skating in Embarcadero after the contest.
Right.
Going out at night, like drinking beers, and I mean I was like 14, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know that you could do that. It was like the skateboarding world was pretty small.
Yeah.
And then for everyone to be skating the same thing like that was pretty. That was a special event. It was before SF kind of started. That was when SF was like still really SF.
For sure.
The Capitol hadn't been gilded yet, right?
The what?
The whatever the Civic Center, whatever.
Oh yeah. In like it hadn't been built, like the gap and everything.
No, sorry. The ponds, and then there's the fucking whatever, like the city. It's like
the city hall or something.
Yeah, city hall building hadn't been like. I don't think it had been restored or whatever. Maybe it had.
It's funny too, because like skating back in those days was like kind of intense, like vibe wise, like dudes would vibe each other and like talk shit. Right. And, like fucking, I don't know. There was all kinds of beefs and like people. There was dudes were getting in fights and shit. Like. Right.
Oh shit! Really?
I mean, where we were, yeah. You never got caught up in anything like that, right?
No, I mean, I remember Andy Roy was like always trying to start some shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love Andy Lloyd, but he was like
he was trying to start some shit with you?
not with me, but I think some other people. There was like, yeah. Maybe we don't. Maybe that we edit that part.
Nah, it's great. You see, Andy Roy's got some new teeth nowadays. He's got a crisp white grill.
Damn, he got rebuilt, huh? Fuck, lucky him, man. That's the way to go.
It's funny. I used to. So back in those days, I used to stay at Ron Chapman's house, right?
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Because we skated for 60-40 together.
Oh, right.
So him and Mark Gonzalez used to do this thing where they would call somebody, a skater that they didn't like, and then they'd be like this. They'd be like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And then the guy would be like, "Hey, what's up?" And they'd be like, "Hey, hold on a second." And then they would put him on hold, and then they would three-way call a skater that person hated.
Right.
So then they would three-way call that person. And then next thing you know, you have the two people on the phone with each other that hate each other.
Damn.
While we're listening on the other. I don't remember any specific details of like how these calls ended up, but
right.
Did you ever hear about anything like that?
Yeah, Ron Chapman and Jeremy Klein used to do that all the time. They used to call the 8th Street house. There was an 8th Street house and fucking Sal lived there. I think like, yeah, they would call and they would prank call and then they would call and be like, "What's up?" And then just sit there on the phone, you know? And then I heard stories about Ron and Jeremy. They used to prank call Ed Templeton too. Be like, "What's up?" And they jacket. They would always say jacket. Ron would be like, "What's up, Ed?" Jacket.
What does that mean?
I know. That was their thing. Like jacket. Oh, yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, I was super young, and then Ron and Mark were out.
I think Jeremy got it started.
Jeremy Klein got that started.
He was a big troublemaker.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. He was always fucking with people.
I don't think I ever met Jeremy Klein before, but yeah. So Ron would he would bring that whole vibe into the mix, but it was amazing. We used to be at his house just like drinking Boone's Farm wine and fucking prank calling people. It was like 13. I was like 14 or 15, and he was probably like 21.
Right. He's amazing. Oh yeah, my God.
So you're in the mix. You're like skating. I know you got hurt quite a bit. Like
right.
You
right.
You were riding for Blind and.
Right. Yeah. I got on Blind. I would skate with, go to LA and skate with Tim and Guy and Rudy and Matchner a lot. And then, I got on Blind and then was like hyped. Was trying to film a part. Wanted to have like a new part on like a full length part, mm-hmm. Blind. And man, I remember I broke this thumb, like shattered this thumb really bad. I was in a cat, had this whole surgery, shit was in, whatever, was out with that. And then like I dislocated my arm and then, it was like out for long enough where I was like, I felt like I wasn't being productive, you know? I was like, dude, I'm not earning my keep as a pro, you know? I don't have any footage.
Was anybody putting pressure on you, or were you just like putting pressure on yourself?
I think I was putting pressure on myself, you know, but it was still kind of that thing. I don't know, like I think later on, you know, guys would take like a year and a half off and like no one really, I don't know. I was like, shit, man. Like I had just gotten on Blind. I was like, I gotta like come out with something solid, you know? Mm-hmm. But,
yeah, and I remember even like Carol used to feel like he was gonna be like replaced at any time. Like, and back in those days, it was like there was no certainty. Like you could have a career and be done by like the time that you're fucking 22 or like 21 or something like that.
That and yeah, people didn't people didn't really, there was no like long time pro career. Usually like if you were 23, you were like old as dirt, you know? It was like, if you're pro, like if you're 25, there's no fucking way, like no fucking way, you know? Yeah.
Nowadays, there's dudes that are like 29 that are still just like getting sponsored, turning like amp.
Right. Yeah, man. I know, it's more like soccer or like hockey. Some of the best dudes are like in their early 30s or even mid 30s, like the dudes that are like really changing the game. Yeah, it's cool that it changed like that.
When you started getting hurt and like, as for me, like from the outside looking in, it seemed like skateboarding was something that, I mean, I could be totally off, but like seemed like it was something that you could take it or leave it. Like this is something that you're super good at, but it seemed like you were just easily like ready to move on to the next thing. But I don't know, was that like, was it something that you were super invested in, or were you kind of like, okay, like I've gotten hurt, like let me just figure something else out?
I think it was because I got hurt. I was hurt long enough, and at the same time kind of discovered this other stuff, you know? Like I kind of got into photography, and then the big thing was like getting into painting. Like I remember buying some paints and like staying up all night to do this painting, and that was like this game changer. I was like, fuck, if it's just as much fun to do this as like just as much of a high as like it is to skate. And then I was like, fuck, you know? So that was kind of like, oh, well, if I work on this, like maybe I can do this and it could be, you know, something I do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment that kind of solidified your decision to like kind of walk away from like being a pro skater, or was it kind of a gradual thing?
Right. I mean, I think there was one summer. I think it was like maybe like a series of a few months, and like I think there was just a bunch of things happening. I was kind of having this like just going through all kinds of stuff. It was more than just skating, but it was kind of like I was like, fuck, I want to make a change, and you know, I wanted to learn how to like relate to people as like a normal person. I felt like I'd just been this like skate pro for years, so you know.
Yeah. That's your identity. Like,
yeah,
you're a pro skater, and that's who you are. And you kind of wanted to break out of that mold. That's what I think you're saying.
I think so. You know, and maybe I made like an extreme kind of break. Maybe I didn't need to like totally walk away. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I actually goes back to Mike Ternasky too. I mean, we would hang out, and like when he was doing Plan B, we would hang out and just go see a movie or do random shit. And I remember he would talk about, fuck man, he's like, don't you ever just want to just leave and like do something totally different? He used to talk about like wanting to leave Plan B, just break out. And there was this book that he was reading at the time, as like Don Juan and the Yaqui Way of Knowledge. It was this Carlos Castaneda book, and like, you know, the sorcerer dude in there was like this guy that could be like a dude in a suit at a business party, and then in another minute he could be like in the desert and like on this crazy thing, and then in the next minute he could be with a girl. The next minute he's like super into this whole thing. Anyways, I think when he kind of broached the subject of like, man, like, wouldn't it be nice to just do something else, you know, just totally get into something else? I don't know. It was this conversation. I think maybe he had it with me. He didn't have it with other people, or maybe
it had been like years before, because he had like passed away for a few years already.
Yeah, this was 92, 93, I think.
But it's something that resonated with you, and maybe like kind of always like stuck.
Yeah. And then at the same time, I was reading books like Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger, you know, just this, you know, I was going through shit, you know. Later on, I realized like I hadn't really dealt with the fact that my dad passed away at a certain age, and like I didn't really know how to deal with people in a certain way because of that, because I was like shut down. And so there was all the stuff that kind of came out eventually, but yeah, I think I got to like an overload point, and I had to kind of make a total break, and fucking, who am I? You know, what the fuck's going on? I mean, I loved skate. I would skate, but it was just, I think I needed to just become like a normal person, I guess, or for lack of better words, you know?
What was was there a last tour that you went on that was memorable, or like anything like
Oh man. I mean, yeah, there was a, no, actually shit, that was the summer before. we could cut this, delete that.
Well, I mean, that would be the last tour, though.
No, I mean, the last thing was really, I think, you know, because I'd always kind of like worked on ads and like helped with graphics, like like 8th Street and Planet Earth, and like, so part of like getting hurt a bunch, you know, and I was getting into photography and shit, like, so I started making contributions to Big Brother, whatever. Anyways, like the last big thing that happened that summer was you know, I was hanging out with Jason Dill and Jeremy Ray, and then Gino Iannucci, and then Chris Markovich, and like somehow it was going out and photographing people for the magazine, and then it kind of turned into this thing where we tried to kind of start a new company through World. You know, and Dave Sloshbach was filming. I think we mashed it around for like 2 weeks, and we were filming a bunch. Everyone was in Dave's van. Rocco was really into it. The whole deal was kind of pending on Chris Markovich signing on, and so it was, you know. And then that whole thing kind of blew up. It ended up, you know, like...
I heard about that. You guys put on like wigs and fake mustaches and tried to sabotage Chris Markovich
right.
at the airport, right?
The Big Brother guys, yeah. So fucking Jeff Tremaine and Sean Cliver and Mark McKee. Everyone knows that, yeah, like Chris Markovich is flying from the East Coast. He's gonna be in San Diego. We got to go to the airport and catch up with him before Mark Oblo does, and convince him to ride for the new for program, you know, like he has to be on. And somehow on the drive down, Dave and I like, we're gonna do this, but let's make it funny, you know, like so we got some fucking wigs, and I had like my camera and shit, and like we're there right as the fucking the line is emptying out of the plane, like Dave and I are like the first dudes there, and we both have wigs on and shit, and I have my camera, and like we see Markovich coming out, and then we look back, and here's Mark Oblo coming, like the same time. It was just like, and I'm like...
But don't tell me you guys just didn't go through with it, or what did you guys do?
No, he came up. It became like this huge showdown, and like, and I was like taking pictures the whole time, and like fucking... It was a nightmare. Oblo got super pissed. He's like, give me that film right now. He's like, that's going to get printed in Big Brother. Like, what the fuck? Like, give me that film. So...
what was Markovich saying?
Markovich, I think...
He was just confused or something?
He was confused, and he and Oblo had a thing. So I think he left with Oblo, and we're like, fuck, man. That's that, man. No new company. It's fucking, it's done, you know?
So then you're like, I'm just going to move to Hawaii.
Oh, man. Not exactly.
But when you finally like broke out of skating, that you did move to Hawaii, you know? Or where did you?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
It wasn't just like...
No. It was like I went back to school. Like I like... visited everybody in the Big Brother office. I quit, whatever, and then I went back to school and.
Wait, so you were actually working for Big Brother?
Yeah, they would.
Okay.
I would shoot photos. I was like a
nice.
Contributing photographer.
Oh, nice. I didn't know.
I was no Cossack, but I was like whatever. I was taking enough photos that like fucking Chris Ortiz was like giving me mad dog looks. You know, like there was one contest. He's like, who the fuck does this kid think he is taking photos, man? That's my fucking shit.
Maybe he felt threatened.
I love Chris Ortiz. He's awesome. He did fucking mad dog me though.
I mean, that was part of the game back then, right?
It was this contest in Encinitas, man, and all the Santa Cruz guys were like sitting there, like acting like everyone is mad dogging everyone. And, yeah, the costume was just doing switchback 180s or over some fucking little thing, you know. Yeah. Anyways.
So then you do eventually move to Hawaii, though.
Yes.
Okay. And how was that? Like, what's your day-to-day life in Hawaii like?
Oh man. I mean, yeah. So I went back to school, and for whatever reason, I wasn't into it. It wasn't working, and you know, I was like asking all these like philosophical questions, all this stuff, and like ended up getting really into Zen Buddhism, and I met some people at this place in Northern California, and I was kind of blown away. Like these people were like super cool, and like they kind of were aware of how gnarly the world is, how fucked up it is, but weren't like fazed by it. We're just taking it in stride. And anyways, it turned out there was this like OG Zen teacher that lived in Hawaii, and so yeah, I went there and did this really short retreat, and then yeah, that turned into this like work study thing, and then I just stayed on. I lived at this like in residential Zen center there for like a year or something. Yeah.
I mean, was it a good experience? Like, do you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I met so many solid people, so many really good people. And learned about myself a little bit. Yeah, it helped.
I read a little bit about the guy. His name was like Robert Aiken or something.
Right.
It was kind of like the dude had a pretty crazy life, like.
Right.
Yeah, and he was obviously around.
Yeah,
he was like running the thing. Right?
He was. I worked with him. I was like kind of had a work study thing. I was like his assistant for a little bit, and kind of worked around the place. And yeah, he was this guy who was like a World War II prisoner of war captive in Japan at some Japanese internment camp. And this English writer that was a captive there, it was like he kind of taught him about, anyways, he learned about this thing called Buddhism and Zen in this prisoner of war camp. And then after the war was over, spent all this time in Japan, like learning from the OG Japanese dudes. And yeah, it's kind of...
a lot of the things that he was talking about, like environment and peaceful living and rights for everybody, like those are things that, I mean, what I read about him, I believe, obviously,
it's like common 100%. Sense stuff.
It's like common sense shit.
Yeah.
It's like people that nowadays they're saying like, oh, they're being like, stay woke, but it's like shit that's common sense. Like we should all treat each other, you know, with respect and love, and like treat the planet with respect and love at the same time.
Right.
You know? And it's like people have been preaching this shit for ages, but I mean, at the end of the day, nobody wants to listen. I think it's just a capitalistic thing that money, you know, is more important than anything else. But you know, this is a deeper conversation.
Yeah, I gotta read up on my Marxism to have that come. But yeah, no doubt, man.
But it seemed like it was a really cool experience. Like
it was awesome.
I mean, it seemed like it would be, in theory, like a cool experience. I don't know how it was really to be there. But.
No, totally. That guy, that OG was like really down to earth. Whatever. Bob Aiken was like really good Zen teacher, really down to earth, and a lot of cool people rolled through there. And he was like super encouraging. He was like, man, if you want to make art, and you know, be an artist, be a painter. You know, he was like, do that. You know, like yeah, and we kind of like. Hooked me up with like art teachers in Honolulu, and like it was like he was super really encouraging guy. It was awesome.
So do you feel like you felt that? I mean, did you find what you were looking for, like spiritually, or in that?
I mean, in hindsight, for sure, man. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think always in the moment we think we might be lacking, you know? Like, I wish this was the case, but No, it was really good. It was a really good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good time.
Are you Buddhist or are you practicing? Or?
I mean, I do sit a little bit still. I feel like if I meditate a little bit, you know, throughout the week, like I'm like a better person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less likely to like be a dick.
Yeah.
You know. So I guess in that sense, I'm Buddhist. You know, I don't want to be a dick if I don't have
to. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It takes a long time to learn how not to be a dick.
Well put. You know, a really long time.
And it's not something. You have to put energy into it. You know.
You do. Yeah, it doesn't. Being cool is not. It doesn't come automatically, man. No.
I mean, for sure. So at this time, you kind of like.
Not that I'm cool. I mean, you know what I mean? Like being nice, being nice, being decent.
At this time, are you like paying attention to skateboarding or like what's going on with that or?
Man, a couple of things like on Instagram, like some videos, Free Skate Mag in Europe, like they post cool shit.
But I mean, like in those days, like when, when you kind of when you stepped away from skateboarding, like, were you
right? This is
still,
a great question.
Were you still paying attention, or like?
It's funny, yeah. I kind of enjoyed, yeah. So when I lived in Hawaii, there were definitely there was a good couple years where I did not like pay attention to shit. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't watch any movies for a year, listen to much music, and but like every 3 or 4 months, I would definitely like fucking crack like Thrasher or Transworld, which you could get any grocery store would have like a good skate mag, and like I love that, you know, like oh fuck, this dude's fucking Kenny Anderson just fucking won this contest. What the fuck? He's like doing a backside tailslide down this crazy fucking what? Yeah, it was cool.
I wonder if like, did you ever look at Girl in Chocolate and think like, that looks cool, like maybe I could have been down with that. Or, you ever have any of those thoughts or anything like that? Because when you were there, I mean, were they talking about like breaking off and doing that, or was that something that you knew about at the time, or?
No, that came a little bit later. I think some of the things were like in the works. Like Rick and Spike and Megan were all living. They were all like roommates and Torrance and shit, you know. But no, I think that came a little bit later. But yeah, for sure, seeing like the girl, and I think someone sent me Goldfish, and all that early girl stuff was like so fresh.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah, I wasn't really like shit. I wasn't really like I want to be a part of this. It was more like just like things like have gotten good. They've gotten to where they're supposed to be. You know, like it makes what these guys are doing it makes sense. You know.
They never like reached out to you to like see what you were doing or anything, because I know they offered Henry, but then Henry kind of like turned it down. He stayed on blind.
What would have happened if he would have fucking left? Yeah. I know.
I don't know.
Damn it, Henry. Wait, you gotta edit that.
Henry's gonna come for it.
He's gonna get that Terminator face. He's gonna just crash through the wall.
Oh man.
God damn it.
Holy shit. So you kind of like bounced around, and then finally you ended up in LA.
Oh,
you went to Northern California.
Years later, like a decade later, I think.
Was it?
No, actually, sorry, you're right. You got it. Shit, I just had a brain fart. Yeah, no, eventually made it back to LA. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing you then, because you lived in, you and Siu Trin lived in like the same apartment complex.
Oh, that was a couple years. That was several years into being in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
I remember I went to visit Siu and then like somehow ended up in your apartment.
Oh shit. It was like 2006 probably.
Yeah.
Right. 2007?
Yeah.
2006. Oh shit.
And then that's when you kind of like started doing First and Hope or whatever, or that whole thing.
I think it was just wrapping up around then. Yeah. That was a whole funny thing too. I know, it was like, that was an interesting project.
I mean, it was cool, super cool.
I just had to watch it.
I watched it again the other day. It was amazing.
Oh shit, man. Funny stuff.
And then I remember, like, then you did, what was it, Free Pegasus. You went out to Barcelona.
Right.
You were out there.
Right.
I saw you at Magba.
That's right.
You spent some time out there. You were,
That's
that was
right.
like 2007 or something like that? 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Was that post, we had skated together at the barracks, like right before that, huh? Or was it right after that? Was it after that?
Man, I don't know.
2009. Maybe you were back in LA.
I was all over the place. I was a fucking mess.
Oh. Shit.
How much time did you spend in Barcelona?
Not that long. I think I was there 3 or 4 times for a couple weeks at a time. And then I think when we shot the vid, I was there for like a month, you know? Those vids were it was kind of like, you know, it was like having fun with filmmaking and trying to bring out another side of skateboarding and kind of represent like the whole thing of like, you know, what happens in between tricks, you know, like rolling and like that, you know, cruising through a city. And so it was kind of just having fun with that, you know, like early art house skateboard filmmaking. Yeah.
The Free Pegasus is kind of funny though, because you have Ingrid Strubing's
and
Justin Strubing. It's essentially their love story.
Right.
Kind of. It's like American skater goes to Barcelona, skates around, accidentally runs into like local Spanish chick,
absolutely,
and then they fall in love.
Absolutely. And they were it's amazing that they both were down, that were in it, and they were up for it. And that's probably exactly it. That's probably how she was like, knew that part, and like, it kind of worked out naturally like that. Yeah.
That was super cool. I mean, I watched all these things again the other day, and it was like, it was super interesting to see the like side of like the tourist skater, and then like versus the Spanish like local skaters, because like
right.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, one life looks really trife and one life looks really good.
Damn. Yeah.
Like the you know, all the tourist skaters are like living in flats with like fucking, I don't know, 15 people, and then like the Spanish skaters are eating paella and playing fucking like
I mean, I think that was part of it. That's good. That's good.
The contrast was super interesting, and it was very real too. At the same time, it was it was extreme.
I mean, it was kind of trying to capture, like, bottle, like the reality of that situation. Yeah. Because it was so. If you've never been there and you like walk into that, it's like traveling to another planet. It's like, it's amazing, right?
It's insane.
It's
like
insane.
It's out of this world. You're like, especially coming from America, we have, you know, our lives are very structured, and like we have a lot of rules. Right. And then you go to Barcelona and you're like, wait, I can fucking do anything I want at any time.
Right.
And we just lose our minds, like.
And the city's like simultaneously like super old and ancient and haunted, and then super new and modern and like super designy, and these plazas are coming out that are like from the future. So it's like this crazy, so it's like, it feels like a kind of like, it's a special place, you know, it's a special wavelength.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you didn't get caught up in like, you're not like going out to Manolo every night, and like you didn't get caught up in all
right. Yeah, no, but I was around some shit that went down, or I saw people like got a little too much of that and kind of like got derailed by that. Yeah.
I kind of lost my mind out there, I think. I was out there for so long with like so little responsibility. Right. And just drinking every day, and like after a while your sense of reality is like, it's just totally warped, you know?
I mean, that's how we learn. We learn through the extremes, right? I mean, I think skateboarders are like super unstructured, but we learn we learn how to find balance through like losing our balance, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I mean, those of us that aren't like helicopter parented, you know, where dad and mom's like, he like tells us what to do our whole life, you know, like, I don't know, we have to figure it out for ourselves, you know?
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, you did Telegraph.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was that whole thing?
That was super fun. I mean, it was like this attempt to do like something just fun and make kind of fun skateboards, you know. Maybe it was like a pre-welcome skateboards. It was like I really wanted to do shaped boards too. I was like trying to get to that point. And I feel like Welcome kind of came in and they really just hit at the right time, and they have a really good. Anyways, I just wanted to play with making fun skateboards and videos and kind of bring like, I guess bring my passion for painting and making shit and films, like kind of bundle it up into a little company. Yeah.
We just had Alex Olson on here, and we kind of had a big discussion about the fantasy versus the reality of like owning your own skate company. Was that like something that you experienced, or like not?
Absolutely, man.
Being a businessman, you know, you're a creative guy, right? So it's hard to be a businessman and be creative at the same time. It's like
for sure
two different brain waves.
Absolutely,
you know.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, unless you have a ton of money to burn, it's a crash course in like, it's business 101. I mean, I think, it was like, it's fucking gnarly, man, to do a skateboard company, to be the creative and kind of do sales and the business part of it. It's like impossible, really. Were
you doing it all by yourself, or did you have like a partner to like kind of do the business stuff? Or
Laura worked with me and my friend Chaden early on too.
Chaden Brewer.
Yep.
Another Barcelona.
That's right. That's right.
Shout out to Chaden. That's cool.
Yeah. It's fucking.
I mean, it seems like you were kind of like right on par with the like small brand movement that kind of has come about, like with Polar and Palace.
I think so. Maybe sprung kind of.
It's kind of like started around the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It just wasn't. Oh man, I'm kind of at a loss for what to say about.
Was it like a hard thing to? I mean, you had a good run. Like you did it for like what, 5-6 years, like.
No, I think like 2.5. It was pretty quick. Yeah. Okay. I think like if I was gonna do it again, I mean, it'd just be like a whole different ball game. Kind of know. I think so much of it was shooting in the dark, and then probably spending way too much time trying to make videos or do graphics and like, you know. But now as a painter, it's like, you know, being in the studio and being creative is like, I don't know. I think failing with Telegraph kind of helped me figure out how to, you know, being an artist it's running a business, really. Being a painter is like, it's still just running a business.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with failing on something. It's just what you're going to take from it. You know, are you going to see it as a learning experience, or are you just going to, you know, feel defeated? You know, and obviously it seems like you learned something. You could probably do it again better, even if you wanted to now, or, you know, or whatever you took from it, you know, it's going to lead you to something more positive. So
hopefully. Not necessarily.
And now with art and everything, it's like, you know, do you see a lot of parallels between like the art world and the skate world, or?
I mean, generally speaking,
in terms of like industry.
The thing I see with the analogy that works for me, I think, between skateboarding and art, or skateboarding and painting, is like one of the cool things about being in New York City now is I feel like there's a lot of really great artists here, and really great painting happening here, and just to be around that and kind of soak that in. Like he's talking about meeting Ellsworth Kelly, like. You know, it's like that thing in skateboarding. If you want to get good at skateboarding, go and be with people that are better than you, you know, and you'll learn. You know, I feel like, you know, New York City, there's so many people making so much great work here, just kind of being here and being a part of things. It's good. It's good to kind of be affected by that. You know?
Sure.
That's the... you know, and then the whole kind of other piece of it is, yeah, it's different. I think it's different from, but not too. I mean, if you're with the right gallery, it's like being on the right team. You know, it's like I think it's. It's
funny. I read somewhere that you like you would get kicked out of spots for painting, or something.
What?
Like that. Did I read that wrong? Does that not?
Oh,
has that not happened? Has that not never happened to you?
You did your research. Yeah, man. I think as a joke, I tried to paint in the Grove. I set up an easel and tried to do a little landscape painting of the Grove as if it was this like faux European scene. And these two security guards came up and they were like, "Sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. You can't have a thing on like a cart or anything like other than like your, you know, like yourself. Like you're gonna have to fold this up, and we're gonna have to escort you out." Yeah, people in the U.S. are uptight about shit, right? Like in South Pasadena on Mission Street, there's this really cool view by the metro station there. And I set up with this easel, or I think I was on the deck of the metro station, and it was like there was no one around, and I was painting this like alley and these trees and shit. And again, like a security guard, metro cop comes up and is like, "Sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. This is like a security violation."
Joke. You're like painting.
Yeah.
You get kicked out for skating. You get kicked out for painting.
Pretty funny shit. Yeah.
I was just like, this is the land of the free. You can't do fucking shit.
Right. God. Especially not post 9/11. Yeah, everything's fucked up. God.
It kind of seems in the art world to be successful, like have like commercial success, that you have to like run with the right circle first, and then this is the way I see it. Like you run with the right circle first, and then your talent maybe comes second. Whereas like in skateboarding, you got to be talented first, right? And then hopefully you run with the right crew, which can like kind of propel your skateboarding. I don't know. That's what it seems like.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways in the art, you know. There's all kinds of ways, yeah. But it doesn't hurt to be with the right gallery or the right place. But even then, it's like the work. There has to be something interesting, or like something interesting to the work that you got to figure out. You got to come up with. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, it's like you got to make some kind of tasty food, I guess. You know.
You got to season it a little.
Some people got to want it. You know, it's like at the end of the day, yeah.
Do you have any like shows coming up, or what do you got going on?
Working and doing some direct sales right now. Yeah, just kind of building up a body of work. Yeah.
Nice. The block printing technique you do, where you like carve. What is it? You carve in wood.
Yeah.
That looks very like kind of labor intensive. Like takes a long time. Huh? So you carve. You carve in the wood, and then you like I don't know. You lay like a paper over it,
like a block print. Yeah, man, I haven't done those for a while, but
those are dope.
Yeah, those are fun. Nice. Yeah, those are good. That's good. A good process for skateboard graphics, because you can ink a block with one color, black, and then you can scan that piece of that print, and then you can do color separations real easy on the computer. It has a nice, yeah.
Like good. You did that like organic kind of.
Oh yeah, those were fun. Yeah, I was thinking about like, like Japanese wood block printing and stuff, like thinking of different places, different color palettes. Yeah.
That's cool. I need to get a piece from you somehow. I'm still waiting on my BA piece too, by the way.
Oh, sick, man.
Brian.
She get that BA piece.
Yeah, I would love to have like something of yours.
You gotta swing by.
For sure.
Just come by the studio.
You gotta give me that player price though.
I think we can work it out. We'll figure something out.
I need that player price. I used to draw and paint a lot, man, when I was young, but the older I get, I don't know. I feel like my mind is more operational than it is kind of creative, like, or maybe that's just me talking myself out of it.
That's its own kind of creativity, though, man.
Yeah.
We kind of got to go with what flows in a way too.
That's true.
Yeah, man.
I was thinking about like trying to maybe, I don't know, it sounds kind of weird, but like take some classes or something to get back into it mentally, but I don't know.
I got some paints for you, or I have these oil sticks. You could come over and do a piece with those.
Yeah.
Do that. It's like someone gives you like their Veriflex to rip around the parking lot with. You hit the curb on the Veriflex for a little bit.
I always kind of wanted to like be the dude by the river drinking wine more than the guy painting the dude by the river drinking wine.
Nice.
At the same time, it's like I don't know. I'd rather just have experiences than kind of be.
It's like the Herman Hesse book, right? Yeah, man. Yeah.
But I don't know. I love the creativity and the art of everything is amazing. Like especially the things that you do, and like I said, what Brian does, and all the skaters, and it's very admirable to.
I mean, whatever. It's just an outlet, I know. It's like when you get up, do you enjoy the world or do you try and improve it? Do you work on something or you just enjoy what is? Like what's better?
What do you think's more inspiring artistically, like the streets of LA or the streets of New York?
There's no better than or worse than. I think it's different places and different palettes, and I think I would be kind of working through the same shit and figuring out the same shit kind of no matter where I am,
Yeah.
No difference, I'm gonna go with that.
You should do like a New York version of the Blue Line.
I mean, yeah, with if someone wants to put a budget up and can get like a real DP, it'll be fucking killer. People will love it. They'll fucking love it. Gone are the days of just like doing shit for the love of it.
You gotta get that budget up.
Let's get.
I feel you for sure.
No, because these days, that would be super fun. I mean, it would be fucking epic. But it's like need to have enough things in place to do it properly, so that there could be it could be sick. Yeah. Like take it to the next level.
For sure.
Yeah, that's all.
That makes perfect sense.
If there's any patrons of skateboard, avant-garde cinema, please talk to me after the show.
But like in skating, you've been like, your name has been thrown around for so long. Does it ever feel annoyed? You ever feel annoyed to be praised for like being called a legend and all,
I mean, I don't feel like I deserve it necessarily. Yeah, maybe people have gotten, there's just so many good skateboarders, but, or maybe I feel like, okay, like maybe there were certain things I figured out or tried, but I think a lot of other people came along and did those things like down handrail, like a 12-stair handrail, you know, whereas I maybe did it on a curb or a bench. People like people really like.
But you maybe open the door of what's capable. So a lot of times in skateboarding, people don't think that they can do something until they see somebody else do it, which is very interesting. I used to see that with Costin, like what he nollie heel flip nose slid down a handrail, then all of a sudden every kid in the world can nollie heel flip nose slide down a handrail. Why did they not think that they could do that before? They just
that motherfucker's good, man. He was nollie flip nose sliding blocks like waist high.
Yeah.
And like back when, oh my God, he's insanely good.
Seriously. But with the whole legend thing, like the word gets thrown around so much, but somebody last summer said something interesting to me. It was this, that Brazilian kid, I think his name's Cauê, what's his name? Cauê. He's a really good skater. And he was like, "You're a legend." And I was like, I don't really think so, man. And he's like, "No, you're a legend." And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "You know why you're a legend?" And I was like, "Tell me."
Nice.
And he's like, "Because they remember you." And I was like, he's like, "It's not about what you," he's like, "It's about what you did."
Oh, shit,
but
man.
it's like, whatever you did, they remember you. And I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, I'll take it then.
Nice.
If whatever I did makes you remember, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Sure,
And
man.
I think it's a testament to you because that was 27 years ago that you dropped an hour later part. People are still talking about it.
Damn.
It's an amazing video part.
You're kind. You're kind, man.
And there's even a nod to that is like Adidas just gave you a fucking shoe in a capsule collection.
That was really cool. I like Adidas. That was awesome. That was random. That was really
super
random.
cool. I just hit up Shire a couple of days ago. I was like, yo, I need these shoes. He's
Nice.
like,
What size you wear?
10 and a half.
I got some 11s.
You got me?
I got some 11s.
I can make it work. We used to, back in the Embarcadero days, we used to wear size free.
There you go. Right.
You can make it work.
Right. Hell yeah.
9.5 to 12.
Give me some of that size free. Yo, you got some of that free? Yeah.
So looking back at everything, was there anything you would do differently, or?
Shoot. Oh man. No, I can't. Nothing comes to mind immediately. You know. Yeah. I don't know.
Sick.
Yeah.
You made solid decisions, and you stick to your guns. Something
Sure,
like that.
Sure, I'll buy that.
What do you have? Anything coming up? What's next? What's going on with Brian? Like in the next few years, or?
Man, God, just no big plans. It's just kind of on the daily grind right now, you know? Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well,
maybe have a kid. Maybe so I'll throw that out there.
Dude, we got to do that. We're getting older now. We're gonna be some old dads.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to be an older dad now. I think we've waited long enough, so that now being an older dad might be normal.
Right on, man. Well, that's all I got. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Man, this guy's backside flips fakey, man.
Come on.
Babes, man. Pumping the half cab out. Yeah, man.
You too much. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me.
Mission statement, episode 10. Brian Lotti, we out. Peace.